out there and working on some stuff.
Okay, great. Just going to share my screen here.
Great.
Oops, let me hang on here 1 second. Let me just make sure I've got the right one. There we go. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. By the way, I'm working today from my daughter's place in Alexandria, Virginia. So I don't have any front lighting here in this little workroom I have. So I might look like I'm in a cave. I'm not really in a cave, but without the front lighting, I can see I might look that way. Okay, so this is about the 20th session that we've had on these Tuesdays and Wednesdays, each one covering kind of a smallish kind of topic. And the format, for those of you who haven't been on these sessions before, is that we go through the topic of the day. And then what we do is we open it up to any questions on that topic and also any questions, period. And history seems to suggest that the audience usually has enough questions to keep us going for our 45-minute time period here. I think this custom maps session is going to be fairly short, although I did say that last week and it ended up taking about 35 minutes. So I've got two, I'm assuming all of you can see these thumbnails here. These are thumbnails of the various drop-in sessions that we've had. I'm going to show you two real quick flows, and this is focused on custom maps. And I'm going to show these to you in the edit mode. So in case we have to examine some of the items from an editing perspective, we can do that. Okay, so this first step is pretty easy. Drop-in training on custom maps. This is part number 1. As you probably all know, maps are very commonly used in flow presentations, and the whole structure of flow just lends itself very well to data visualizations using maps as backdrops. We do provide a set of standard maps. I think we've got like 12 or 14 standard maps. And we also have the capability for users to import their own custom maps. And the process for generating custom maps is available through the Flow Help Center. Actually, you know what? Let me go over there right now and just take you to that spot. So on my homepage, I click the Docs, D-O-C-S button, and I'm just going to put in here custom maps. And I think this article here, it's a guide and a tutorial, custom maps. Just going to bring this up real quick. Yeah, so this is a tutorial on custom maps. It was put out there, seems like about 9 months ago. I think Sierra of our company put it out there, and I contributed to some of the text in here. And this takes you kind of through the process for generating custom maps. So this is an adjunct to the training that I'm doing today. Okay, let me come back in here and re-access my flow here. Okay, so I'm going to go over to, these are a couple examples of custom maps. Turns out several months ago, I had occasions to put on some training sessions that were attended by some people from Kansas and by some people from North Carolina. So I thought it was good form in those training sessions to do a custom maps for those two states. So here's what I did. I went out to the Stanford University set of maps, and I found what's called a shape file for these maps. And shape files are artifacts that have all sorts of information in them regarding maps. I mean, more information than you typically would access on Flow. So, and these shape files tend to be pretty large. I don't remember the size of each of these files, but it was in the megabytes, okay? So our process says, hey, go find your shape file and then go to a particular website that there is a pointer to in those instructions that I showed you on our on our help center and generate what's called a topo.json file. And basically, this is a simplification process that takes these maps from being megabytes in size to being tens of kilobytes in size. So it reduces the overall size of these objects by anywhere between a factor of 20 to 100. Okay, so if you, the idea here is generate the topo.json file and save that on your hard drive, and that becomes the source code for your custom map. And then when you're generating a map, like here, I'm going to look at this map. When you generate a map in Flow, you specify what, if you want to use one of our standard maps, you specify which standard map it is that you want to use. Or if you're going to upload your own topo.json file, you just click the choose file button, and then you navigate to your hard drive and you find that file and you upload it. And then once that is successfully uploaded, the only thing you need to do is to check the field in the topo.json file that's going to serve as the index field for which you're going to access, in my case here on the left-hand side, counties within the state of Kansas. So it turned out in this particular topo.json file, there's a field called name 10, which is the county field name. So after uploading your custom map, you have to designate what your region identifier is going to be in your CSV file, and match that up with what the region identifier is for your map. Okay, so that's this point 4. Specify the appropriate region field when defining the map. Then once you've done that, this map behaves just like any other map. The dots get affixed to the map according to the region or according to the latitude and longitude, whichever way you choose to do it. And you've got your own map that in just about every way is identical in its functionality to other maps that you find in the Flow system. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you through what I do when I create a custom map to check it out. So in the case of my Kansas map, before I applied a swarm to it and a choropleth to it, I just had a blank map here. I think it was gray in color, and it had the outlines of the various counties. Okay. So what I always do when I generate a custom map is I put together a little test case that allows me to test out whether I've got all the right county names in my data set and whether I can apply a colorization to the map and things like that. So I'm going to show you what I did to test out this Kansas map. First of all, I brought in the map of Kansas, and I uploaded this topo.json file from my hard drive, and I didn't really do anything else at that time. Okay, I knew I was going to put in a choropleth, and I was going to scale the values from yellow to deep red by county. So what I did is I put together a CSV file that I could use to test that out. And the particular CSV file that I put together here, I'm just going to focus on this Kansas map swarm here. The CSV file, I'll just show it to you here real quick. Looks like this. I have the Kansas county name, and it turns out there's 105 different counties in the state of Kansas. And I put them in here in alphabetical order. And then what I did is I assigned a value to each county, and I just took it from 1 to 105. I just put the value in my Excel spreadsheet. I just made the value equal to the row number. Okay. And then what I also did is I generated some random numbers where I just wanted to give some sort of value I could display for each county. And what I chose to do is I just put in some random numbers between 1 and 5. So their values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're in random order here. Okay, and that's the simple CSV file that I set up. But this CSV file is suitable for checking out just about anything I want to do with the map. So the next thing I did is first of all, I put in the choropleth, which is the colorization of this map. And I said, here, I'm just focusing on the map here. I said, okay, I want the region column in my CSV file to be named Kansas County. And that was that leftmost column that I showed you a second ago. I want to set the color based on a scaling of scale value. That's one of these choices here. It can either be a value in a column or a scaled value. Okay. And I said I wanted to scale the value according to the value column. And that was that second column, the one that ran from 1 to 105 in my CSV file. And I want the colorization for a value of 1. I want it to be yellow. For a value of 105, I want it to be this deep red. And anything else in between will be colors that are in between, according to the standard algorithm that Flow uses for producing choropleths. Okay, so, and what I did is, I think the first time I ran this, the choroplething looked like this, except I think this county was gray and this county was gray. And what that meant was I have misspelling in my county. The spelling of my county in my CSV file did not match the county name that was being expected by the map. So there was no colorization that came into those two counties. So what I did, it was obvious to me, they were the only counties that were gray. So I knew I had a misspelling there. So I came back into my CSV file and I found those counties that I had misspelled. And I think in both cases, it was obvious. I had misspelled Cheyenne. Maybe I put one N in there, and I had misspelled one other county name. So I went in there. Excuse me, this phone always rings at the wrong time. Yeah, so I just fixed up my CSV file, and then I reapplied the choropleth, and now every county here is colored, which means I've got 100% match between the names in my CSV file and the names that this map is expecting. So I never really have to worry about that again. I know what the county names are. The next thing I did, so this choropleth, in doing this, remember the value of 1 is the brightest yellow. So let's see, looking at this map, maybe it's this one here. Oops, that's a value of 11. Oops, that wasn't a good guess. Value of 3. Well, there's some county in here that's the brightest yellow. This is 2. Okay, I'm not sure which county it is. And there's some county in here that's the richest red. Maybe it's this one here. Let's see. That's 103. There's a 104 and 105 that are richer reds. So in this choropleth, basically what I've done is I put these counties in alphabetical order, because that's how the counties were in my CSV file. I had already put them in the CSV file. I put them in alphabetical order. So the brightest yellow here is going to be very near the beginning of the alphabet. This is Barber County. There's another bright yellow county here. This is Allen County. Oh, this is the lowest valued one. Okay. And then the deepest red are going to be toward the end of the alphabet. Here's Washington County. Here is Wilson County and the like. So, kind of a crazy thing to do, to put counties in alphabetical order and colorize them that way. But that's what I chose to do in checking things out. And once again, the primary thing I was checking out was making sure I had all the county names spelled right. So since I don't see any gray points in here now, everything is good. Okay, the next thing I did is I put using standard flow techniques, I put a swarm onto this map. So in doing that, here's what I did. Okay, so this is swarm number 4, okay? And the chart type is map to regions. When you're using a map, you can either map to regions, which means the name of the region, in this case county, is in your CSV file, or you can map from coordinates, which means you've got latitude and longitude in your CSV file, and you're going to use the latitude and longitude for placing the dots on the map. Okay. So both commonly used techniques within Flow. So here in setting up the chart, I was doing a map to regions. I was using map number 3, which is seems like this says map number 4. Oh, no, here it is, map number 3. Okay. Yep, map number 3. The region column name is Kansas County. And that's all I really did. I scaled the values of the dots. I know my value field was ranging from, this dot value field was ranging from 1 to 5. So a 1 in my CSV file corresponds to a size 5 dot, which is a pretty small dot, like here, Miami County. Okay. And a size 5, or a value of 5 in my CSV file is a size 20 for the dot size. So the largest dots are this one right here. So this has a value of 5. And that was it. I set it up. So in doing this, I could now tell that I had all the correct names for my regions in my CSV file. And I could also put a dot on every county. So, this was just all checking out the custom file. So once I have this custom map in here, now once I've checked it out this way, I can go ahead and do whatever I really want to do with it. So maybe I'm displaying population. Maybe the choropleth is a function of the population of the county. And maybe the dots, the elevation of the dot and the dot size are reflections of agricultural production within the county, revenue generated in the county or something. So anyway, the artificial test case, but it thoroughly checked everything out, and then it sets it up so you can use it for whatever you really want to use it for. Let me see if there's anything I missed here. Nope, I've covered all this. With North Carolina, it was exactly the same process. I did this about a day later. The first time it took me to do my custom map, it took me about half an hour, 35 minutes, because I was kind of feeling my way through the process. And I was just being very careful every step I took. And I was learning as I went. And I was looking at the documentation very carefully and following it. So I think this one took about 35 minutes. I think the North Carolina map took me 20 minutes. And then the subsequent maps that I've done since that time have taken me somewhere around 15 minutes. So there's a steep learning curve on this. The first one will take you longer than subsequent ones. So those are 2 custom maps that I've done, and I use these 2 maps in a lot of the training sessions that I do. So before I get to my second case, let me just pause and see if there are any questions that you have on this right now. Okay, so I'm going to exit.
Bill, sorry to interrupt you. I just dropped the question into the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I can read it here if it's easier.
Okay, let's see. Okay, is it possible to go from state map, county map, zips map, maybe using a different map in each step? Yeah. Yeah, well, so we have a map of the US. That's one of our standard maps, and that does have the states as the regions. Then we use custom maps at this point where we're going to do state maps, and the counties are the regions. We also have a custom map that we can give you the source code for, the topo.json for, that is a zip code map of the US. We don't have one by state. I don't think we have them by state, but you could probably go out and find zip codes by state maps and generate your own custom maps if you had a situation that warranted that.
Yeah, no, that's easy to find, but you already have a zip code level map for the entire US?
I think so. Yep. I think that's in the, that's one of the 2 topo.json files. Let's see, Michael showed the county map earlier. We also have a similar zip code map. I think
the appearance of like zooming in, like you're just getting more granular. It gives more of like kind of an exploration feel, I think.
Yeah. I personally haven't used that zip code map yet, and I don't know if it, I would guess it has the outlines of the states and the counties on it, but I'm not sure. I'd have to take a look at the map to know for sure. It might just have zip codes. So we can give you pointers to where that topo JSON is located.
Thank you.
I have a very newbie question.
Okay.
Sure. So I've been actually following along. I went out to get the county level maps for my own state, made it into a topo JSON, but I'm in the flow editor, making a new flow, and I'm looking for this upload topo JSON file button, and I'm not sure where to look.
Oh, okay. I'll show you here real quick.
Yeah, I see the select upload, but that's for CSVs and data sources. So yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'll show it to you right now. Let me just go back into the same file here, or the same flow, I should say. And I'm gonna add a step. Let's say. And let's see, I'm gonna make this a blank step. So this is my new step 2. Accidentally added it after step number 1, which is okay though. So if I'm going to add a map to this flow, what I do here is I say plus map, and then if I come over to my map definition here, I can either choose one of the flow standard maps. In this case, we've got maps to the US, Bangladesh, China, France, India, Europe, etc. Okay. I could either choose one of those.
Now I see the upload topo JSON button right there.
Yep. So when you when you upload that, assuming that it uploads cleanly and you've got a clean topo JSON file, you'll be able to do a very similar thing that you saw me do here.
Yep. Thank you. It was one of those like weird little blockers where you're like everything's going great, and then where's that button brings everything to a halt, right? So thank you.
Oh yeah, no.
Please carry on.
Yep, I've been there before.
That's my normal, Thomas. My normal state is blocked and unable to move forward.
That's the normal state. Well, you know what? As long as you're comfortable with that state, it's fine.
Thank you both.
Okay, part 2. This is going to be really quick. This is a customer of ours actually put up a topo JSON file about 3 days ago, and they went out and they got a city map of the city of Ottawa, Canada. They went out and they found some sort of topo JSON file for the city of Ottawa, and they put this up. And what they've done is they've done a little application that analyzes bicycle traffic as a function of season and position in the city and the like. So, I mean, this is the downtown area here. So in certain seasons of the year, it has very heavy bicycle traffic. And at other seasons of the year, not so much bicycle traffic. Like in the winter, it almost drops to 0. But in the spring and summer, it's quite high. So anyway, it's a neat little application that they were using. I forget the exact reason they wanted to do this, but it had something to do with public transit and minimizing automobiles on the streets of Ottawa and things like that. So what they did, the custom map part of this is just this map of Ottawa that they went out and found to find. And they said they did this with no intervention from Flow. They just went out, they got our instructions, and they put together this map. And I think they said it took them about an hour or so to actually construct it. And the hardest part was just finding the topo JSON file. Okay. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. So this is a very recent custom map that's been generated by one of our customers. I think maybe someday Flow will have custom maps, maybe of the major cities in the country, and or not custom maps, but standard maps. It would be great to have standard maps for some of the larger cities around the world too. Any questions on this? Okay, so that's about all I'm planning on saying about custom maps. It's a not too difficult part of our system, and history seems to suggest the hardest part is just finding the maps, but they are out there on the internet. Thomas, when you found yours, what did you use as a source?
I started at the Stanford site that you recommended.
Oh, okay.
And zeroed in. And then I ended up, to get actually the actual state level, I went to the, is it GADM, GASM? Can't remember. But really, I just started working through the options on your Zendesk tutorial on custom maps.
Oh, good.
And I
Great.
basically followed those in order, right? I said, yeah, so I ended up at GADM where I found the one I wanted. Yep.
Oh, excellent. Okay, good. That's great.
And I do know that the state, I am actually in Michigan, so my map looks like a mitten. They do have quite a big GIS operation at the state level, and even at the county level where I live. It's actually quite amazing how many maps are available. But
Yeah, like anything else digital, I mean, it's growing every day too. Yeah, so does the MI, the MI abbreviation for Michigan, does that stand for mitten?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, come on.
That's a good way for
Yeah,
me to
do better
remember
than
that.
that. Come on. We're kidding.
Word association is important to memory. So, I got that one cemented away.
There you go.
Okay, so at this point in time, let's just open it up. If you got questions on custom maps or questions on anything else, and it looks like Michael has just returned. So it's good timing, Michael. We just begun the question session.
Oh, great.
Okay, so yeah, any questions on either custom maps or any other topic?
I have a couple of questions. Good morning from Canada over here.
Good morning.
I actually they were questions that I sort of had I guess coming into this session. One of them, I'll start with the vertical videos, because I recently heard of news that Instagram is actually transitioning into completely vertical soon, because they want to copy TikTok basically.
Sounds
They
about
want to
right.
be fully video, and so, or I guess be primarily video. And I wanted to know if these things would be able to be posted in Instagram just like they are in TikTok, and how you do vertical posting.
I can address that, Bill. So the so the main thing to account for is basically aspect ratio of what you're showing. So typically we show things horizontally, but as you rightfully point out, many things are portrait mode. And so to accommodate for both, what we have is actually, and I don't know if this is the best, well, anyways, I'm not going to comment on the location of it, but it's actually under story creator mode. So there's visualized data where we set up our scene, and then we've been trying to create more of this create story function where you're adding the narrative layer over top. And so the button I want to point out is this one right down here. It's called mobile camera position. And you can't see my mouse here. So so it's in the lower right-hand corner, right below delete step. I'll check it on and off so you can sort of see me clicking it, but that's the mobile camera position. So there's actually a few different camera positions that are set. There is the camera position that is for landscape or computers. And by clicking this checkbox, you'll be able to see where that camera is. And then there's the mobile camera preview, which will put you inside of the camera and as the mobile phone. Because by default, what the system tries to do is it tries to fit everything in your viewport. So by default, typically things that are portrait mode will be very zoomed out, or they will appear very zoomed out. And so that's oftentimes what you have to sort of correct. And so after you do that, you simply set the camera position, and then it can move forward to step by step and continue to update in that manner. So it's basically as simple as just setting the camera in the right position. And it's just remembering to do that for your flows if you want them to perform optimally on phones. we sort of try our best to basically do sort of a best guess between interpolating between the typical landscape version, which is what you normally set, and the portrait version. Does that address your question, Paulo?
Yeah, so does that mean that you can essentially work on it in vertical mode? Work on your...
Oh, yeah, good question. So you can't really work on it while you're in this preview mode. But one thing I do actually when I know that I'm going to mostly be doing like vertical is I just, in the editor itself, it is responsive as well. And so all I need to do is just sort of make my window a little bit more like it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's sort of what I typically do is I'm usually building like this, build the things, and then towards the end or middle end is when I start setting up the camera positions. And then that's when I get into more of the portrait mode and start to adjust things. So you can do it all at once, and you can actually even just make the aspect ratio sort of like this just to start, and then you can sort of go through it. And also, if you have a monitor that's flips, you could also do it that way too. So
all right, cool, thank you. Yeah. And the second question I have, if there's time, I don't want to butt anyone else's time. I was actually looking last week to register, and I was going for it, and I don't know if whether I need to have permission again or if something expired, but I tried to, I guess, log in. And yeah, it just prompted me with something going along the lines of, I don't know if it was permission or if I need some sort of thing again for access, but.
Okay. Yeah. Let's look into that. We should be able to resolve any issues. I know that there was a coupon code that expired on Saturday, the 14th. And we just reinstated a new one, so that ends till the end of the month. I should have just sent an email out this morning, but the direct address is web.flow.gl. We finally put everything on one page, and so make it easy so you don't actually even have to enter a promo code anymore. So we've been trying to make that process a little more streamlined for sign up. So I can get you that link, but let's try to handle that one separately. I know, Stephen, you had a breakout, or you had a question here to go into VR and AR at once. And I do think that's a really valuable thing for us to do as a group here. So happy to do that right now, if that's helpful, Stephen. Or
yeah, yes, I was on a few weeks ago, and I couldn't figure out how to get two people in the same thing, because that's what really allows you to record it nicely the way that you've done it on TikTok, right?
Right. Yeah, that's right. And so to get them, am I frozen again?
Yeah, you just froze a second ago.
Huh. So strange. Okay. I'm gonna have to restart my computer. It seems to be the only way to resolve this little bug on my end. But the we can jump into that. But the main thing or action to take is to enter the same meeting code, and that's sort of the main trick to get it into the same meeting. And so we can go through that together. If you, Billy, you want to start to set that up, I can jump back in here once my computer restarts.
Yeah. Why don't you come back in, Michael? We'll just wait for you.
Okay, sounds good. Or Stephen, if you want to start a meeting, I'll be back in just a second. I can join it for you.
All right.
Yeah, we can either do that or we can wait till Michael gets back and have him start it. I mean, it only takes a second.
So what does it mean when you say like to start a meeting?
Okay. So in your flow screen, actually, do you want to share your screen, Stephen? And I'll kind of...
I'm going to do it on my phone, which is where I've done like the AR stuff previously.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, let me bring up a flow and I'll show you.
This is what I got.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the start the meeting, it's one of the buttons over on the right. I think it's the second one down.
It's a square, or
No, I'll tell you what, let me,
Oh, maybe I have to open it in WebXR.
oh, yeah. Right, yeah, you should be looking at the flow in WebXR, right? Okay,
All right.
and then on my screen, I'm on a computer. It's the third button down. It's got like a couple screens is the icon, or yeah, it looks good, a couple of screens.
Can you maybe share your screen, Bill? Because I don't see that.
Yeah, okay. Hang on here 1 second. I'll start sharing here. Okay, share my screen. Okay, yeah, so, I'm in I'm on my laptop here. So this meet button here is the third button down in the upper right-hand corner.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You see that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Log in to start meeting or join an existing meeting. So how do I do that? I gotta log in, I guess. Is this
Yeah.
login flow?
Yeah, if you're gonna start a meeting, you just click it. Okay. And do you get a start meeting window pop up?
I'm not logged in. That might be the problem.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one detail is you have to be logged in order to start a meeting.
Yeah.
But anyone logged in or not can join a meeting.
And then once you get the two people in the meeting, well, Michael will go through this. It's a matter of synchronizing your phones so both phones know where the data is in your space.
Yep.
So I'm going to stop sharing my screen in case Michael wants to come back on again.
Sure.
There you go, Michael.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure, looks like you got pretty far there. So let me,
yeah, the only thing we really did was identify where the start meeting button is.
Okay, got it.
So you didn't miss much.
Got it. So why don't we start this on your side, Stephen? I think that will just be it'll be easier if you drive it and then I'll fill in, unless you want me to drive it and then I can have you join in. Either way.
I have my flow password saved on my desktop.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Call it easily to enter on my phone.
No worries. Let's just go with this direction then. What's a small flow here?
If you send me a meeting ID, I can join it.
Yes. Right. I'm gonna I'll use this one. I think it's pretty small. Okay. So here I'm in a meeting. This could be on my phone. This could be in a headset, anywhere. Sort of doesn't matter, from the browser. And from the browser screen, I hit the Meet button, which is this two little chat icons, and then click Start New Meeting. And then this meeting has now been created.
You're not sharing, Michael.
Oh, sorry. There we go. That'll probably help. So let me do that again so you could actually see what I was doing here. So the up in the top right-hand corner, there is this little invite to meeting button, or actually it usually starts out with start meeting. But since I started the meeting already, it's just now going to show the URL. So I can copy this link to send to people, or if they're in a headset, I can tell them to just type in these letters. It's a five letters. It's all lowercase and it's only letters. There's no numbers. Or they could scan the QR code, or I can send an invite via email. So I type their email and I click invite. All of those will basically send them that link. So for here, what I'll do is just paste it into the chat window so that you can join that way. But if you have your phone, you can also scan that QR code that's on my screen, which would be the easiest manner to join on phone. So that's essentially how you get people into the same environments. And by doing so, once you join, you'll basically be in this participant list here. And go through more functionality there. But any questions so far on this part so far, Stephen?
You said you don't need to be logged in to join, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so when I get that link up on my phone and I click join, how do I see you? Like if I were filming you, how do I see you? Like, will I see you with the visualization behind you?
So right now I'll be in front of it, but if I move to the back of it, then yes, I will be in the back of it, and you should see me once you join this meeting.
Just in other words, this is how you film your stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 phones, basically the AR mode on the phones, and just recentering in the same spot and facing the same direction, so that the quote unquote virtual world is lined up with the real world. Now, last week, I put together a flow to help people create AR videos. I might put it in featured flows, or I might just send it out in an email until we create another folder to help facilitate some of this. But the flow is this one, and I'll put this into the chat window as well, so that everyone has it.
Oh, is this in the featured flows right now?
It is not featured yet.
Okay.
I talked to Jason, and I think we want to put it into a new folder that's more for like templates.
Yeah.
But what this is really helpful for is just understanding how to create an AR scene, and just like where things start by defaults. So by default, the camera is 1.25 meters in the Z direction. Your content typically starts at 0, 0, 0. And the floor is typically starting at minus 1.25 meters down. And so I've just put text basically where those locations are. And so what you can do is go into AR mode, and then you can very easily sort of map what your room looks like compared to this virtual image. So that way, when you're creating your scene, you have more sense of like where things are. And so hopefully that's helpful as well here to creating these AR videos. But the most important thing is basically recentering on the same points. And yeah, so does that address your question, Stephen? And I know we haven't got you into the, or I think sometimes doing it is the key here. So let me know if that's working for you.
Yeah, I can't get it on the phone. The link keeps timing out. It says a problem repeatedly occurred on that link.
Oh, really? Okay, let me just pull up this other one. I might have closed that meeting because I moved to a different screen, but let's just go to this one, which I was testing. So it's not done, but it's cool. So from here, I click on this Meet button, start new meeting, and there we go. Got a QR code. So if you want to scan that with your phone,
Yeah, I can do that. Oh, it keeps like reloading. I had the map briefly.
So that could be that this flow is too large. This is a little bigger. Oh, there's Paulo.
All right, I got this. That looks right, right? Oh, see, it just reloaded on its own. I had the map and then it reloaded.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, let me send you a different one that's a little. You have a Android phone or iPhone?
Then I just got this again after a try. Oops. But it said the same thing, an error occurred. A problem repeatedly occurred on, and then that URL.
Huh. Could you take a screenshot of that and just email it to me by chance? I don't think we've seen that actually. And what kind of phone do you have?
iPhone 12, I think.
It's iPhone 12. Okay. And you're running in Safari or WebXR viewer? Or
usually I start in Safari, and then when I do the ARXR, it moves me over to WebXR.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, sorry you're encountering that.
That's all right.
Because I have an iPhone 12 and it's definitely fun on mine. But Stephen, why don't you and I, we can schedule maybe 15 minutes later today or tomorrow or sometime this week and just jump in together and figure it out. Does that work for you? Okay. Because yeah, it should be pretty straightforward. And yeah, let's get you over that hurdle or whatever's happening with that phone. Maybe some setting that's not there or something. So we'll figure it out.
All right, I'm gonna jump then.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Stephen. All right, Bill. Any final words of wisdom here? I think you're on mute still.
I'm muted here. Yeah. As usual, the questions filled up the time, which is good.
Love it.
Okay. Hey, great. Hey, thanks everybody for dropping in. We'll see you tomorrow or next Tuesday.
Woo.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So for registering,
Oh yeah.